What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of the Sit Down. As always, if you enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Let me know what you think of tonight's discussion in the comment section below. If you're watching us currently live on YouTube, welcome in. Please make sure you say hello in the chat box to the right of the show. If you're new around here, you just haven't done it yet. We're living under a rock and seeing this video for the first time. I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button below now so you never miss another sit down video. Also, make sure you check out my latest video on one of the oldest mobsters of all time, a man who was doing work or wanted to do work into his 90s. We're always trying to show you the very interesting people in the history of the mafia here on the channel. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It's Tuesday night. Wanted to do a live tonight. I wanted to talk a little bit about a ongoing feud that is starting between everybody's favorite con man and scumbag, Sammy Gravano, and a group of lawyers that is campaigning for families for a little bit of justice. Who's in the wrong here? Does Sammy Gravano actually deserve the opportunity for his story to be told? And you might think that I live and act and feel a certain way, but I don't. And I'm going to talk about that all here tonight. And I'm going to update you on kind of what's going on. I'll admit, I was contacted by Gerard Marone, who is the lawyer in this case, over a month ago. Gerard and I have a relationship. I've been kind of, I guess you would say, friends with Gerard for a while. You know, we communicate, you know, we talk about TV shows and, you know, what's been going on and that sort of thing. But Gerard has always kept a profession with me. You know, he's helped me out in certain things. You know, we're just kind of on a professional level of friends. And he contacted me, said, I want to give you first shot at this. I want you to, you know, I wanted to see what you thought of it. You know, we're going to kind of go to war with Sammy Gravano over this recent FX show. And I said, well, you know, Gerard, I saw it. I said, but I don't necessarily agree with it. And he said, okay, well, maybe at some point you could talk about it. And I thought tonight would be a good opportunity to do that because I kind of want to let everybody know what exactly is going on here and what does this mean in the future for people that cooperated with the government. Do they have an ability or should they have an ability to tell their stories and make money off of it? Because that's the real problem and point of contention here. That said, I am wondering who's pulling the strings behind the scenes in all this. So let's talk about it. Let's get to know what's going on here. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope all is well with all you guys. I hope you had a great Super Bowl. I hope you made some money. And if you didn't, hopefully you enjoyed the game. If you'd like to support our channel further, do us a favor. Support us now. Hit that super chat icon, bottom of the chat box. Show some love to the channel and support what we do here. It means a lot. If Cash App works for you, you can do that as well. All right, let's get into it. I want to start it off with, we all know who Sammy Gravano is, okay? We know about some of the depraved things he's done. When we look back at his career, you could say he's one of the most treacherous, dangerous, and depraved people to ever be associated with the mafia. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter with Sammy. It didn't matter if you were a friend. It didn't matter if you were a kid. It didn't matter who you were. If you got in his way and he didn't like you or he wanted your business, he took you out. We know the story. We know he cooperated. We know what he's up to now. And as I reported over a month ago, we know, and I didn't report this, but we know that FX is in the processes of doing a show with Sammy about his life. It's a scripted show from what I understand, and it's got some big names attached to it. Antoine Fuqua, Terrence Winter, Nick Pileggi. There's some big names associated with this thing. And we recently saw a press release come out from a group called the IACRL, the Italian American Civil Rights League. Now, we know of the Italian American Civil Rights League due to its, you know, basic foundation from people like Joe Colombo, right? Joe Colombo was a kind of purveyor of this back in the 70s. It's one of the reasons we would believe he was taken out. His continued obsession with the camera. It's been resurrected, this group, and it's been resurrected by a guy called Gerard Marone, a lawyer out of Queens. He has a practice with a man called Elio Forcina. I'm not going to talk much about Elio. I think he's a complete scumbag, and I'm not going to talk about him. He doesn't have any bearing on this conversation. I do like Gerard, though. I think he's a good guy, and I think he's trying to, I think he has his heart in the right place here. And again, I've said it before many times on this channel. I hurt for anybody that has been hurt by the people that we talk about, whether they cooperated or not. And what I'm going to do is I want to read you the press release, and then we can kind of discuss why I think they're not going to get anywhere with this. Keep in mind, Gerard Marone, here you can see him with John Gotti III, or not John Gotti III. He's John Gotti. It's Peter Gotti's kid. He faced some charges. We did a video on it. You could see Gerard walks with a cane. That comes from the fact that when Gerard was younger, he defended his sister over a pretty disgraceful, disgusting rumor, from what I understand. I don't have the exact story, but he was shot over it. He now has a cane. So they put this press release out, and I'm going to read it and comment on it and kind of discuss kind of what it's all about. It says, for immediate release, the Italian American Civil Rights League strongly condemns FX's decision to proceed with a television series focused on the life of Sammy the Bull Gravano. By glamorizing the story of a man responsible for the brutal murders of countless individuals, including innocent victims, this series perpetrates harmful stereotypes and glorifies a life of crime that has caused untold suffering. The decision to greenlight a show centered on Gravano is a slap in the face to the Italian-American community, says Gerard Marone, board member of the Civil Rights League. There is nothing honorable and redeeming about profiting from the notoriety of a cold-blooded killer. That's a quote. In fact, not only is Gravano a murderer, but also a convicted drug dealer. According to Times Magazine, after Gravano's arrest at the height, police estimate his ring in Arizona, as we know, was selling as many as 10,000 ecstasy pills a week and raking in almost $1 million a month. Italian Americans have contributed enormously to American society, Marone added. We deserve stories that reflect our achievements, not tired narratives that perpetrate harmful myths. It's time to stop celebrating criminals and start evaluating stories that inspire. Well, I'm going to get to that comment. The story of Sammy Gravano is not one of redemption. While he may have turned state's evidence, his hand remains stained with the blood of 19 victims. He memorializes this wearing a T-shirt emblazoned with Bull 19. He went on to peddle drugs to teens with no regard for their families that have lost their children to addiction and overdose, which, okay, again, if we're going to talk about this, let's talk about all drug dealers are being bad. But remember, there's an agenda here, so it's going to be brought up. But we do know it's true. By allowing him to profit and gain further notoriety from his crimes sends a dangerous message that violence, betrayal, and murder can be spun into entertainment and financial gain. We're particularly disheartened by the involvement of creators like Antoine Fuqua and Terrence Winter. They're accomplished storytellers with the power to bring meaningful narratives to life. Instead, they've chosen to amplify the voice of a man whose actions have caused immeasurable harm, not just to his victims and their families, but the broader perception of Italian Americans. Finally, which I'm going to get into, the Italian American Civil Rights League calls on FX to reconsider airing the series and urges creators to use their influence to tell stories and elevate and inspire rather than exploit. Furthermore, we encourage all viewers, advertisers, and partners to think critically about the impact of supporting such a production. It's time for the entertainment industry to move beyond sensationalized portrayals of Italian Americans, says Marone. We are a community defined by resilience, hard work, and cultural contributions. Our stories deserve better. So there you have it. Their general thought is, why is FX doing a TV show with Sammy Gravano? But I would invite them to understand that the true crime space is worth billions of dollars. And a lot of people have profited off their crimes. It's just that simple. Are you going to go after O.J. Simpson? Are you going to go after all these people? Understand that these people, these showrunners, their idea is, the goal is to get a story that people will watch. Just like Netflix went and did Get Gotti. You know how long Get Gotti stayed number one? A long time. And whether or not we like it, whether or not we understand it, and in this space, we know all too well who Sammy Gravano is. But at the end of the day, most Americans don't know his story. And most Americans have a lot of interest in his story. And at the end of the day, remember, Gerard, these companies are out to make money. My biggest problem, though, is the message of this press release. And it's, why are we painting Italian Americans as gangsters? They're harmful stereotypes. Gerard, I love you, but your sole practice involves defending mobsters, most of which are convicted mobsters. These are people that have been longtime members of a subculture, and at the end of the day are the reasons for the stereotypes that have been brought, not television shows. And yes, Sammy Gravano is one of the worst of them. But if you're going to knock him, why aren't we knocking all of them? All of these people are bad, not just the rats. That's what a lot of people on this space don't seem to get through their heads. These are all bad people. These are all extortion artists. These are all killers. These are all bad people. It would take the last cent from your little old dying mother if they could. Remember that. And again, remember, look at this photo right here. Roger Stone is in this photo, who is a convicted criminal. John DeLutro, who is speaking at the mic, is a reputed member of the Gambino crime family and a convicted drug dealer as well. We're going to talk about that. Do they have a harmful stereotype on Italian Americans? One of the saddest stories that we have ever seen on this space is the death of innocent people by the mafia. Nicky Guido, Mary Berry, Dominic Rigucci, John Favara, Alan Kaiser. We've heard it, right? All of those people were killed by members of the mafia. All of them deserve to be talked about. But it's not just Sammy that did that. The other mafia did it too. Why don't we talk about them? And that's why I wonder who's behind the scenes pulling the strings on this. We do know, and this is the truth, Gerard Marone was, in fact, in the last case involving Gianna Gotti and her mother, Kim Gotti, the one that was thrown out in court on behalf of John Gotti Jr., Gerard Marone served as the counsel in that case. Gerard Marone has served as counsel of various members of the Gotti family, and so has Elio Forcina. We got to wonder who's behind all this. But at the end of the day, to me, it's incredibly hypocritical as a group who, again, remember, this group, the IACRL, was started by Joseph Colombo, the literal voice and reputed head of the Colombo crime family. It's now been resurrected, hopefully for good. But remember, it's Hollywood. I want to play a piece of Gerard's podcast, and I urge everybody to go check it out. It's called The Street Attorney, and I want to play a section of it where Gerard actually contacts Nick Pileggi. And I think what Nick Pileggi states is actually very truthful. Let me get this up here. I'm curious for you guys to see this. Very interesting. Let me present my screen here. Bear with me 1 second. This is called The Street Attorney. Everybody go subscribe to it right now. Bear with me.
And her and Nick Pileggi went up against Joe Colombo in the Italian American Civil Rights League. And then ultimately they joined forces because she was kind of like the political godmother in Brooklyn. Joe Colombo was the leader of the Italian American Civil Rights League, and Nick Pileggi was somewhere involved in all of that. So we had a friend in common. We had a situation in common. And that's what I told him. So he knew, when I called him, he knew exactly who I was. We talked a little bit about Mary Sansone. She has passed away since then. Her husband, Zach, passed away. So he says to me, kid, he goes, you got a lot of balls. I got to give it to you, but you're not going to go anywhere. He goes, the Italians, they're not strong like they used to be. You can't get Italians together to protest.
And I think in a way he's 100% right. They may get people to protest, but the Italian Americans back in the day when The Godfather was made, the mafia went and, leaned on them. Hey, you can't use certain words. You can't do certain things. That's not happening no more. And let's say it does. anytime something happens that people don't want, I remember when Jersey Shore came on, certain Italian American groups protested it. What did that ever happen? Whatever became of that? Nothing.
It's not like the old days. It's not like the Joe Colombo days where you can get 500 people to protest in front of the FBI building or something like that. He goes, look, you're wasting your time. What you're doing is great, but it's a waste of time. The Italians, they're not organized. They're not there anymore. And this is an Italian American. And in my opinion, Nick Pileggi is an Italian Uncle Tom. Okay, because instead of protecting the rights of it.
Okay, so he just called Nick Pileggi an Italian Uncle Tom. So what he's saying is Nick Pileggi uses Italian Americans to further his cause when he is an Italian American, and he should be protecting the rights of those people. Okay, but again, and Gerard, I've invited Gerard on this channel. He knows that. He declined to come on. I've invited any of these folks on my channel, and they can tell their piece. I think this message would move a lot further if both Gerard and Elio didn't represent people that also bring harmful stereotypes to Italian Americans. And again, I think the thought has always been in the mafia that if you're a rat, you're way worse than any other mafia member. Well, no, they're all bad. Like, they're all the same people. They all do the same things. Let's continue.
Italian Americans. He's exploiting Italian Americans. Okay. And he said to me, he basically laughed at us. And he says, the Italians are not organized anymore. You guys can't get anybody to go and protest. The Italians are finished. And you would think I'm talking to somebody who hates Italian Americans. Okay.
Right.
And it became apparent that,
well, no, he just realizes, Gerard and Elio, what stories are going to move mountains and people are going to watch. They're all in a business to make money. This is Hollywood. And listen, I respect their fight here. I do. Sammy Gravano is a repulsive guy, and he's done a lot of bad shit over his career. That said, I do think it's a little crazy to prevent Hollywood from telling his story. It's not like he's telling it. If that was the truth, then I was like, okay, fine. But Hollywood is telling his story. And it's going to be the story of a lot of people. It's not going to be just a story of him. And let me tell you something. Terrence Winter, what do you think? He's just going to tell the story Sammy tells him? You don't think he's going to independently verify all this shit? I doubt it. I doubt it. Especially when you look at what Mr. Winter's been a part of. Boardwalk Empire, The Sopranos, countless really good productions. Do I think Sammy maybe will get a piece of a couple of dollars to consult? Probably. Do I think he's the general reason they're doing this? No. In fact, I don't think they'd even need him. But they're paying for his rights at this point, probably. Look, we all know that, like, the Bull 19 thing, it was repulsive. We all know that. Now, Sammy claims he didn't even like the shirt. He was just told to wear it, so he wore it. And that he's pulled the shirt down, which I don't know. I don't believe that. That said, these companies and this Hollywood group, like we know, they're going to go and find stories that matter and people want to see. And the truth is, Sammy's story, a lot of people haven't seen nor know, and they would know and would want to watch it. And when we're dealing with people who have contributed to the Italian stereotype by representing people that have been the sole reason that people that are Italian American have a stereotype, it's not because of pizza. It's not because of tortellini. It's not because of, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's the mafia. That's the worst stereotype that an Italian American has. That's just a fact. They have led to this stereotype. And it goes back to that episode in Sopranos where the smartest kid at the dinner table was Melfi's kid, where the father's going on and on about the Italian American Civil Rights League and how it's this just group. And he goes, well, wasn't it started by Joe Colombo, a mobster? And it's a great point. That was a really well done scene because they saw the hypocrisy in it. And still today, we are perpetrating this same ridiculous stereotype. Oh, well, he's bad, but all of our people are good. We're going to talk about Alan Kaiser's death, which you should. But are these individuals going to talk about Dominic Rigucci and Nick Guido and John Favara and William Ciccone and all these different people that were taken out by the mafia unjustly? I'd like Gerard. I just think this, at least this whole thing, it seems a little far-fetched to me.
Pileggi was the guy, and this is his MO, mind you. Pileggi was the guy that brought Gravano out of the shadows, out of YouTube, right? And is going to take his story and bring it to the mainstream.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Has he though? Because again, Sammy's shows have been seen by millions of people. So I don't necessarily agree with that. And again, it wasn't just Nicholas Pileggi. It was, and remember, Nick Pileggi is the same guy who brought, Henry Hill's story to the masses. Are you gonna, and their whole argument is, well, they're not on YouTube making money off of it. And it's like, well, yeah, I get that, but this is a huge true crime's a huge thing at the end of the day. So they're always going to be looking for stories, especially mob stories. Mob stuff is always hot. They did a show about Gotti, so they're probably going to do a show about Gravano. And whether we like it or not, his story is interesting. It's just that simple. Let's hear a little bit more.
So Pileggi, being a producer or executive producer on the FX show, was really the bridge that brought Gravano to Kaplan Entertainment, or Aaron Kaplan. Okay, and this is what he does. So Pileggi, kind of like a Mario Puzo type, when he wrote the book Wise Guy, he ultimately made the book into the movie Goodfellas. So he's basically laughing at us. He's like, you got a lot of balls, kid, but this is not going to go anywhere. You're not going to stop Sammy the Bull Gravano from doing this FX show.
I agree. I think that they will fight and listen, I don't think Gravano's the last person they're going to try to prevent. I think they're going to try to go after other informants as well. I think the fight's there, but I just don't think the fight's going to go anywhere, because again, if as I keep saying, if we're going to talk about Gravano taking out kids, which we know he did, I mean, it's a part of history and it is screwed up and fucked up. I get that. But that hasn't prevented us from doing shows about bad shit. That's just how people are. People want to hear the macabre. They always have and always will. There is a huge appetite for true crime and for gore and for bad shit. And people want blood. They just do. And that could be screwed up. But people want to hear about it. People don't, and for people like Alan Kaiser's family, it would be very sad for me. If that was my brother, that would be very sad. And I do feel bad for them. I do. I've always said that. I think this genre, though, uses that kid for a lot of things, and I think it's screwed up. At the end of the day, though, I think we have to also remember there were a lot of people killed by the mafia that were not involved with the life at all. And I think if we're going to talk about one, we got to talk about all of them. And I just don't think that's done enough on here. I've done shows about them. I've tried to put the word out that it's happened more than once. And look, I salute them for trying to do this, because Gravano is a bad guy. But at the end of the day, being a bad guy doesn't preclude you from doing a show. And remember, they're just going to say, well, he's not involved. We're just doing a show on his life. And he's not the first person that we're going to do a show on that, isn't a good person. A lot of Hollywood's bad people. And a lot of the stories they focus on are about bad shit. That's just the truth. So do I agree with the IARCL? No, I don't. I think if you're going to do this, it should come from a place of people that are not necessarily contributing to that stereotype too. And listen, I give Gerard credit. I mean, Gerard is a lawyer. His job is to defend people. That said, some of the people he's defending are, convicted mobsters. So if you're going to use the convicted drug dealer thing with him, you got to use it with them, right? And remember, I mean, one of the people in this photo is a convicted drug dealer. So kind of hypocritical, isn't it? But that said, I wonder where this will go. I think it'll make some news probably, because again, the IRCL is a known group, but I think the connotation is going to always go back to this is a group that has been led in the past by mobsters. It in some way has people still in that life involved, and I think that's going to be a detriment to it. The Alan Kaiser topic hits different because he was a kid and the government covered it up for Gravano. Well, listen, I don't disagree with you. I definitely think that it's a very sad story. That said, there's a lot of sad stories in that life, and it's just part of it. It's part of what they're going to tell. Now, my guess is they won't tell that part of the story. And that's where, again, that's what Hollywood does. There's a lot of things they'll cut out. That's just what they do. But do I think this will be a detriment to what they're doing at FX? No. Going to war with Hollywood's difficult, man. Real difficult. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to have their hands full with this, for sure. Wouldn't it be smarter to let him do the movie or whatever? And then if you're a family member of one of the victims, you can sue for some of the profits. Could it work out that way? I don't believe so. It would work out that way. I don't know where Sammy's books are based, but my guess is they're based out of Nevada. There's no Son of Sam law in Nevada, so it wouldn't matter. Now, I do believe at one point Sammy was, hit with a some sort of injunction on his book, and he did have to give away some of the profits of it to the Garofalo family. Now that could be true. Maybe they get something out of it in the end where he has to pay back some of the victims, but it's a shame, man. It really is. I think it's unfair, man, for sure. But do I think they're going to get anywhere with it? I don't think. And I am also a proponent of, I am in agreement that people should be able to tell their story. Now, do I think people like Sammy should get to make money off of it? That's where I get off the boat and do agree per se. But I don't think these people should be prevented from not being able to tell their story. Just like I don't believe that, the Gotti family should be prevented from telling their story. Everybody should be able to tell their story, right? I should be able to talk about people, that's what we have in America. We have the ability to tell stories. And I don't think Sammy, like if he wants to tell a story, he should be able to. I thought by now maybe he would do some sort of fund maybe for the victims that he's had. And I think I often wonder if Sammy wasn't involved with killing a kid, would this be a problem? I don't think it would, because they would just say, well, all the people he killed were connected to the mafia, just like every other person that was killed. We don't ever hear about these situations, We don't ever hear about, anybody else. We just hear about this one thing because it's being pushed by, people. And it is a kid. It's different from the others, But I don't think it's going to get anywhere. I really don't. I think that's a shame. I think Gerard's he means well with this for sure. But I think saying that Sammy Gravano is a bad stereotype is true, but so are the clients you represent. I think that's really, the hypocrisy of it. And remember, like I keep going back to, this was a foundation that was started or ran at some point by the head of a family who paraded around like he wasn't a boss. Some of the most, annoying people in this space are the mafia doesn't exist people, right? It's all fake. It never happened. The mob was not real. And it's like, well, hold on a second. So at 100 years of history, 100 plus years of history, it's all, it's all fake. It's like, well, no, it's just a secret society. And it's like, no, it isn't. There was a 5 families. There was a commission. They were on tape talking about it. Like all this exists. Like, are all the tapes fake? everything's a conspiracy nowadays. Netflix did a whole show on Dahmer. Yeah, they did. They've done shows on Richard Kuklinski. They've done shows on John Wayne Gacy. They've done shows on everyone and anybody. Hollywood is blood. They like it. The more violent, the better. So, as far as that, I don't see much that's going to happen here from this, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Again, as I said, I asked Gerard to come on. He declined. He was very nice about it, but as I always said, he's here. If he wants to speak on it, he can. What's going on, man? How are you? Mob is extinct. Not necessarily, not yet, but it's getting closer. It's getting closer. I'm okay. Hope all is well. But yeah, that's all I had tonight, guys. Really just kind of wanted to chat a little bit about this. I do agree. I think that certain victims should be compensated. Absolutely. It is a sad kind of reality, but a lot of people look at this and they go through the ability to not have to worry about it. And remember, not every state has a Son of Sam law. So, and remember, I mean, there is, from as far as I know, there is no federal Son of Sam law. So, I mean, it's not like you can hit them with federal charges. If you base your companies in states that don't have a Son of Sam law, like Nevada, you don't have to worry about it. And it sucks. I mean, we all remember, like, does anyone think OJ Simpson should make money off of, anything that he did? Of course not. Of course not. But, I don't know. We'll see. In other news, something's coming in the next 24 hours that is going to turn this genre on its head, involving me and someone else. So stay tuned. Should I see if, I don't know. I'm going to keep it mum until we do it. But something's happening. Something's coming down the pike, and it'll be out within the next couple of days. And I mean it. I mean it. This is going to be a surprise for a lot of people. So stay tuned. A lot of unhappy people are going to be out there. Let's just say that. A lot of people that said, Nadu, you'll never do it. But as I always do, I always find a way. And I know it's going to be hard for a lot of you folks to get it and understand it. But remember, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I know it's tough for some of you to understand that. But what you'll realize is at the end of the day, no one has done more for this genre than Jeff Nadu. It's that simple. We have brought countless people into this genre no one's ever spoken to. We have moved mountains to tell you the stories about hundreds of gangsters. In fact, our feet should be kissed over it. We've kept this genre moving. So you'll be surprised. Put it that way. Is this live? Yes, it is live. It is live. Does anybody want to guess? Somebody's asking about Tommy Reynolds. I saw the interview with Tommy Reynolds. Very good. It was very good. That's not what this is. No. I might interview him at some point, but you never say never. Who knows? So, let me make a call real quick. Let me see if I should announce it. Hang on. 1 second. Damn, I didn't get an answer. I'll keep it quiet. Pasta Patate, $9.99. Jeff, you're doing work, my man. Thank you. Appreciate that. $9.99. And thanks to a couple of other people who donated as well. Edward and Snake. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the support. He's doing an interview with Barney. No, I'm not doing an interview with Barney. That will never happen. No, it's not running one arm. It's not going to be on my channel. It's not going to be on my channel. It's going to be happening in the genre. Listen. At least tell us if it's someone who cooperated or not. I can't. Joya? Is that a secret? John, I gotta tell you, John, you don't seem to be able to patch things too easily. That's already been announced. Is it Louis Casman? No, it's not Louis Casman. Not Louis Casman. I'm trying to see if I can get the okay that I could talk about it. Big 1 second here. All right, the guy just responded, so let's see. Gene Gotti. I wish. No, it's not Gene Gotti. Okay, guys. So here's what is the big announcement. So tomorrow, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but you guys are all going to be pretty sad about this. I will be appearing on The Skinny with Joey Molino in Little Snuff. I will be on live and direct with the fellas. We will be having a sit-down chat. This is something that, is kind of been in the works. We've kind of set it up with the right people. The right people needed to hear about it. I know there's going to be a lot of people whining and fucking complaining. Why do you have Friar Tuck on? Why do you have the midget on with the wig? And it's like, at the end of the day, so what I need everybody to do is go subscribe to The Skinny. Go subscribe to them guys. Give them a month of your time. I think you enjoy what they're doing. I don't think it's all just going to be on Patreon, but we're going to ask some questions. We're going to ask some things that, I think, we both want to know, and we all want to know, because at the end of the day, look, I've known Snuff a long time. I've known those guys for a long time. I speak a lot to the guys on the back end. And I think it's about time, and there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes in this stuff that you guys don't know about. I think a lot of people just assume things. I lived in that neighborhood for years. So I think, it's about coming to common ground on stuff and, kind of just collabing on stuff and, hearing people's points of views. I'm not taking any sides. I've spoken to all sorts of people. You guys know that, right? But it's important that, we keep the lines of dialogue open and we have a conversation. So make sure you guys check that out. Go subscribe to the Patreon if you haven't. Spend a couple of dollars and pay for content, guys. People that make content deserve to be paid for content occasionally, and those guys do a nice job. So go check them out. You'll get to see the interview with me, we'll have some fun. We'll see. We'll go from there. Snake, $2. That's a bombshell. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Looking forward to seeing that, motherfucker. Yeah, it's going to be a good one, motherfucker. It's going to be funny. And I think it'll be a good conversation. We know there's been no love lost with us at times. Remember the whole mental facility thing and all that stuff. So, Jason Diamond, $49.99. Wow, thank you, my friend. I appreciate everybody donating tonight. It really is kind of you. It says congrats, thank you. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. I think next week we're gonna have Snuff on the show. We're gonna talk about his career, his life. We're gonna talk about some old stories from the neighborhood. I've got some fun stuff to talk about with Snuff. There's a lot of things that Snuff and I had happen years ago. Whether it's gambling or just living in the neighborhood. So it'll be good. So I urge everyone to check out some things. It's good to have relationships with other channels, with other people. Is it in person or through Zoom? It's in person. It's not in person. It's through Zoom. My apologies. I was going to go down there, but it was short notice. I couldn't get it's hard to get a flight that quick. I got to be down there literally. It would be tomorrow. So It's all good. It's easy to do this way. But yeah, so yeah, we'll have some fun. We'll see how it goes. I want to invite everybody to go check out those guys on Patreon. At any rate, they've had some great guests. Guys that I think are interesting. Joey is an interesting figure. So, it'd be interesting nonetheless. We'll see what the people think of it. I'm going to get roasted in the comments, but I get roasted sometimes. It is how it is. Dan tuned is $10. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Am I ever going to be in a mob movie? I don't know. I've never been contacted about it, so I can't answer that. Ask them if they're going to the parade. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. All right, guys. I'm out of here. You guys have a great evening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out the channel tonight. If you enjoy what we're doing, make sure you hit that like button. Go check out all of our latest videos. And as I said, make sure you check that out tomorrow. I believe it's out Thursday with those guys. So make sure you check it out. I am Jeff Nadu. I hope you have a good evening. Thanks everybody who donated. It really means a lot. And I'll talk to you all again soon. Real quick, let me read this. Jeff, you're doing some real good work. I didn't understand what caliber you were until I started listening and following you. Thank you, Robert. That's really nice of you, man. I appreciate your kind words, man. And thanks to everybody for coming on, man. I think before I go, somebody reached out to me recently and they said, you've been a lot more even-keeled lately. And I said, yeah, I have. Because in 2025, my new goal was to be a little bit more even-keeled. Start focusing on things that matter, not things that don't matter, right? So like getting upset at people with comments, stuff like that. Trying to grow a little bit, just try to stay in my lane, do my content, and grow. Also, I will be in New York City on Monday and Tuesday. I got 2 big interviews that I'm doing on other channels. They're not coming on my channel. That's kind of what we're doing this next week. I'm doing new shows. I'm going on new channels. One of which is at about 1 million subs. The other one's at like 500,000 subs. Big shows, very important shows. So I'm excited about that. I'm going up to New York. We're doing them in person. One of them's in Brooklyn. The other one is in New Jersey. So that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to kind of growing, being a little bit of an ambassador to this genre, talking about the mafia a little bit, talking about the organized crime history, and having some fun with some great hosts that have great shows. So I'm excited about sharing those 2 when they come out. So a couple cool things coming up. So I'm out of here. You guys all have a great evening. Thanks to everybody for watching. And for anybody that donated, I appreciate it. We'll see you next time here on the Sit Down.